So I'm going to skip all commercials. I want to go to Juliet, and then my guest is here. He made it. He made it. He is white, and he's late like black people. He's going to tell you why in a minute. But let me go to Juliet, a first-time caller out of Maryland. Juliet, thank you for calling, and thanks for holding. You are on the air.
Hello, Jesse.
How you doing?
Yes, I'm doing fine.
Good.
I'm doing fine. Okay, so I know you're pressed for time, so I'm just going to ask you the main question here.
Okay.
Do you think people are doing the right thing when they murder, rape, torture, or force free labor on other groups of people?
No.
Okay. So now, what makes you think that slavery was a blessing? Because that's what happened during slavery. How was that a blessing?
That didn't happen to all people because there were blacks who owned slaves as well, and there were some good white folks who owned slaves. But the reason I say that it's a blessing is because, God has an interesting way of working things out and looking out for you. And so he made it possible for those blacks to come to the greatest country on this side of heaven, which made it possible for you and I to be born here. And some of them suffer that we might be here. And so instead of looking at that as a negative, we should be grateful. And as a result of being grateful, we should live upright, do the right thing, look out for our country, treat people the way we would like to be treated, to show our appreciation for those men and women who died that we might be here.
Yeah, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that one because I don't think it's ever...
We can't agree to disagree. I'm right and you're wrong.
Well, I don't think it's ever right. I don't think the end always justifies the means.
Why not?
And I don't think it's ever right to torture or do anything to anyone. And my Creator does not show me that it's justified.
So
maybe your Creator does, but mine doesn't.
Who is your Creator? Satan?
I think what I just described to you is the works and acts of Satan. Torturing people is Satan.
Is Satan your Creator?
No.
Oh, who is your Creator?
No. My Creator is my Creator. My Creator believes in peace and love.
Who is your Creator?
And helping people who need the most help. That's my Creator.
Who is your Creator?
My Creator.
Who is he, though? What's his name?
My Creator is peace, love,
that's not a name.
Joy, helping people.
No, what's his name? My God, my Father allowed Job to be tortured. Do you serve that God?
No.
Oh, so Satan, your father, then. What are you talking about?
Torturing is off
Satan
the list.
Satan, her father. So what do you think about
Satan
the fact? What do you think about the fact that God allowed Job? He allowed Satan to take over Job and torture him. He lost his wife. He lost his money. He lost his health. He lost everything. Is that a loving God?
No.
That's not. So you don't serve that God, right?
No, not.
Well,
not
I rest my case,
Juliet. Torturing is not good. You just said it's not right. You just said that torturing and doing stuff to people is not right. You said it's good
Vincent,
or
what do you
want
to say? My guest wants
There's no in between.
I'm just kind of reeling at the fact, and this goes back to the whole Kanye thing, right? Everyone's up in arms about what Kanye said on TMZ. Yeah. A lot of people leave out, especially in our schools, they leave out the when they talk about colonialism, imperialism, things of that nature. They leave out the Bantus in Africa. They leave out the Moors conquering Spain and Sicily. They leave out the Arab slave trade, which was the largest slave trade in history. It completely dwarfed the transatlantic slave trade. The transatlantic slave trade was made to look like a speck of dust on the table compared to the Arab slave trade, where Arab Muslims enslaved blacks, killed 20 million blacks. It was deemed the African Holocaust for a reason. And then you have the original Slavs, and then you have Israel's imperialism. You have all these different things going on in the world. In that period of time, I mean, you could look at Alexander Hamilton. He was killed in a duel. I mean, these types of things, we have evolved from that. But I'll tell you what, the Arabs haven't evolved from that, because in Libya right now, there is an open market slave trade where they're enslaving blacks at gunpoint right now. And no one's talking about that. Now, everyone has some sort of ancestral history of an atrocity. Now, if we can either dwell on the past and use that as our victimhood and as a reason why we can't move forward in life, or we can take the route of like what Morgan Freeman said on Don Lemon a few years ago and say, get past it and don't play a victim and actually take responsibility for our actions in life. Everyone has some sort of ancestral history of an atrocity. Every ethnicity and race on this planet, I can show you an atrocity in their past.
You remember the Boko Haram child soldiers, right? They're stealing girls and boys, especially boys. So, Juliet, and they're all black. What do you got to say to that?
So, anybody that does crime and does stuff that's not good and the outcome is not good should never be tolerated.
Have you ever done bad?
Yes.
But you're being tolerated, right?
But that's the past, though. I just think that,
Exactly, it's the past.
I haven't done any
That's
crime.
the whole point of slavery and everything. It's the past, but yet you people are still living as though it's today.
Well, I think because there's so much bad going on in the world today.
No.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with slavery? I mean, I must ask you that.
It has a lot. Well, because slavery was bad. The outcome of slavery is going to be bad. People are going to hold things. They're going to hold pain.
But black people,
because the outcome.
Juliet, black people, not all, but most are not suffering because of slavery. No one is suffering because of slavery. It's due to the destruction of the family and the lack of moral character. Blacks are immoral. They're angry.
One thing before you let this caller go is that if you look at the 1960s, and I talk about this on my show all the time, if you look at the 1960s, you could look at the poverty rate amongst black Americans, and you could see that it was only at about 6%. And also in the 1960s, the out-of-wedlock rate amongst the black community was only about 19%. Today, you can agree that we're further away from slavery, we're further away from Jim Crow, we're further away from segregation, yet the breakdown of the family has inclined, and the black community, the out-of-wedlock rate is at 72%, and the poverty rate has nearly quadrupled. So, if we're further away from slavery and segregation, why is the black community worse off?
Well, we're not further away from slavery. Like I said, whenever
you're not in your mind, you're not.
Because whenever you kidnap a certain type of people, black people,
Juliet,
and you bring them
call
over
me
here.
again. Drop your excuses. Call me again. I got to take a break. I appreciate your call,
Okay.
all right? Okay.
Have a good day.
All right. So my guest is here, and his name is Vincent James O'Connor. He is a journalist and lead reporter / editor for the Red Elephant Media, a conservative group focused on free thought and the Constitution. And he is late. You're later than the average black. Do you know that? And he's white as snow.
Oh, man.
Do you know that it got so bad for me with my black guests that I don't let them in when they come late.
Oh, man.
And I have a cousin who would have on, he's a liberal Democrat, will have him on a regular basis. Every time he was late, I just banned him. Isn't that true, Andrew?
He's probably listening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he sure is. And so like you're a white guy, you were real late. I got to let you tell the people why, because the black listeners who hate me, you let the white man in, and he was late.
I know. I'm on white people's time, I guess, now. In California, I got to say something. I haven't wanted to move out of the state more than during this drive. I left Orange County at 6:15 a.m. Now, I am exactly 43 miles away from this place.
Yeah.
I left at 6:15 a.m. I didn't get here until 8:30. So almost, what is that, 2.5 hours to get 43 miles in the state of California. I made the wrong decision moving here 13 years ago.
And you moved here from Chicago.
Right, correct. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I understand it, so we're going to have you back too, because I'd like to have an hour discussion with you
Perfect.
in order to take some phone calls and all that good stuff.
Right.
Tell the folks a little bit about exactly what you do and why did you come up with doing what you do?
Well, it started out just really wanting to wake people up. I saw a lot of comments on social media. I saw a lot of comments on, the media, the mainstream media and things like that. And I saw a lot of people actually believing these things and buying into this narrative because they kind of framed it in a certain manner. So what I did was I wanted to change people's minds, and that was my intent, especially during the election. And, I just wanted to start a page and just see where it went to. And all of a sudden, I check back on it, and we have 315,000 followers, 65,000 followers on YouTube, the Red Elephants, and then on Twitter, we had about 30,000 followers until Twitter permanently banned us for life. But that's besides the point. And so I changed a lot more than just a few people's minds. I mean, we have videos during the election where they've gotten 7 to 15 million views, and people actually messaging us and emailing us saying that you legitimately changed my perspective on this particular topic. According to studies by the School of Criminology, a 2013 study by the CDC, and many tables of FBI crime statistics, we can determine that approximately 90% of all gun crime that occurs in America are with illegally obtained firearms and perpetrated overwhelmingly by gang members in urban areas of the country. America has 33,000 street gangs here according to the FBI, and we have the most gang activity per capita of any of the other developed countries in the world, and it's not even close. Think about it. When was the last time you saw the Crips or the Bloods in Denmark or the Latin Kings in Norway and Australia? The only countries with more gun crime than we have here are countries with more gang crime and more diverse populations. Examples like Honduras, Colombia, Mexico, Brazil, and Venezuela come to mind, where gun ownership for citizens is virtually outlawed. These countries have 6 times the amount of gun crime that America does, despite the fact that they have around 60 times less guns than we do here.
I read that your account was suspended for hateful conduct, and here's an example of this quote-unquote hateful conduct. One offending tweet said, "Most mass shooters come from fatherless homes." Is that true?
That's true.
How is that offensive?
They said I was
so
attacking
true.
race and ethnicity.
But did you say what color the home?
Nope.
You did not say black or white or Hispanic. You just said fatherless home.
The full tweet is there, and actually it also goes on to say that since the 1990s, mass shootings have increased, and since the 1990s, fatherless homes in all communities have increased.
Yeah, that's right. So the people who banned you, maybe they are the racists, right? The true racists.
I mean, listen, they're trying to get us off of the internet because they saw the result of the 2016 election, and they saw that all of us and our voice are in alternative media and on the internet, and so they're trying to get us off. They're trying to take that weapon away from us.
This happened to Twitter did this to my producer too, James. They banned him and for some stupid reason. You voted for President Trump.
Yes, sir.
And why did you vote as a white 30-something-year-old male? Why did you vote for President Trump?
Mostly economic outlook for my children's futures.
Yeah.
He talked a lot about economy. He talked a lot about economic protectionism, which is not really a standard train of thought nowadays. Usually that's shunned by the left and the right when you talk about applying tariffs to imported goods and things like that. He talked about immigration. Immigration was a big one because I know that importing low-wage, low-skill workers has been driving down the wages of American men for decades upon decades upon decades, which also leads to the breakdown of the family, fatherless homes, and things like that, as studies have shown. So all of this is a reciprocal effect, and I just thought that maybe Trump can break the cycle.
And do you know that I call him the Great White Hope now?
Trump?
Uh-huh.
I didn't hear that, no. I think you've been calling him that for quite some time now. Eric.
Officer First. He is the great white hope for the whole country, and especially for Black Americans. President Trump is the first white man that I've ever seen or known who shows true love to Black people by putting a wall up, deporting illegals, getting rid of the gangs and crimes, and bringing back jobs, and getting rid of all these restrictions and regulations that hold back small businesses and things like that. He's the only one who has put them, cared enough for them to do that for them. Even the fallen Messiah didn't do anything for Black people. You know who the fallen Messiah is?
Satan.
Well, his son, Barack.
Okay. Fallen Messiah.
And do you know who Big Mama is?
No, I don't. Who's that?
The fallen Messiah's wife, Michelle.
Or his husband.
I heard that, but I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So let me ask, are you an alt-right?
No, I do not consider myself alt-right. I identify more along the lines of paleocon with some libertarian views.
Paleocon. Do you have like a website or anything to give out for the folks, because we're running out of time here?
Yeah, if you go to YouTube and just type in The Red Elephants, it'll be the first one that pops up. And then you can go to theredelephants.com and The Red Elephants on Facebook.
I'm disappointed that you were late, because I knew we were going to have a good conversation. I wanted to take some calls, and I don't know if we agree on everything. I wanted to deal with those things too. So we'll definitely have you back, hopefully really, really soon. But so you say you're not an alt-right, you're something else.
Yeah, I'm not a white nationalist or an ethno-nationalist or anything like that. I'm a paleocon. I believe that when people say that we're progressing and we actually see the results, we see what it was like, even as short as 30 years ago, and we see what it's like now, whether it be the family structure, whether it be wages and average wages whether it be, factories here, whether it be anything. I don't think we're making much progress as they say we are. We might be making some progress on social issues and bringing in transgenders to talk to children in kindergarten classes, if you call that progress, but I particularly don't call that progress, and I want to go back to economic protectionism, nationalism, closed borders. I want men's wages to go up. I want women to stay out of the workforce, and so that men's wages go up so that the family structure can be fixed.
And how do you see the alt-right?
I don't really have any particular grievance against them or praise for them. I mean, when the alt-right is very broadly defined, as we know from the mainstream media, and the alt-right can mean anything from Candace Owens to Richard Spencer, apparently. And so, I don't really. I mean, when you talk about ethno-nationalists, if you talk about white nationalists, things like that, people who want the ethno-state or something like that, I just look at that and I just see, I don't think that can actually come to fruition, in my personal opinion.
We have about a minute left. I definitely want to have you back, because I do want to deal with some of the things I don't agree with. But what is a man?
What is a man?
What is a man?
A man is a person with the male anatomy. That's what a man is to me. As far as if you want to talk biologically.
That's a male, but what is a man?
A man is, to me, is someone that is responsible for his actions, takes care of his family, and stays with his children and raises his children.
So we got to get to your calls on this next time, folks. Ray, Marcus, Chad, the Bible Go-To guy, everybody and their mama. See, I told you they wanted to talk to you. But no, you had to be late.
I will be back as soon as you invite me back.
All right. I need you all to subscribe, support us on Patreon, like us on Facebook, and follow me on Twitter.
Got it.